folks, welcome to Sonofdel's life vlog on this, let me get this right now because I've got to get the date right. I think it's the 7th. Yeah, 7th of September. I haven't done a vlog for an entire month. And to be honest with you, it's been very, very busy here. We've got a wedding coming up next Monday and I'm the best man and Deb's the matron of honour. So Deb's been sorting out loads of stuff to do with that. And I've been helping where I can with bits of advice and stuff like that. Now, coming up on my vlog today, I've got a couple of book reviews. I've actually got 2 or 3 book reviews, but I've got about another 3 more to do. I've been reading that much, but the book reviews are coming up in a bit. There's a Ian Rankin one, and if I'm not mistaken, a Mark Billingham one, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, they're coming up in a minute. It's been that long since I did the reviews. I've also got an unboxing of my September Jigsaw box from Gibson Puzzles. And I've also purchased a limited edition item from Erasure, who's one of my favourite groups, but there's a bit of a story to go with that. Anyway, coming up first, the unboxing of the Gibsons September puzzle for 2022. Here we go, here's the jigsaw. I have actually already opened it, and I love the design of this one, but there's something extra special about it again. You know how I said they're always chucking in extra bits? Well, first of all, I'll show you the jigsaw. Now, what I like about this is I've got this in it as well. It's a nice little note, and it says, "Thank you for buying a Gibsons Jigsaw puzzle, it means a lot. Founded in London in 1919, we've been entertaining generations for over 100 years. By using the thickest board on the market and working with talented artists from around the world, we work hard to ensure that our products are the best they can be. So thank you again for your support." And that's from the Gibsons team. Now, you don't get that in every jigsaw you buy. So that was a nice little, you know, thank you, that was. Now, the jigsaw is brilliant because, as you know, you've seen my vlogs, you know I'm a dog fan. I love dogs. I love dogs, absolutely love dogs. Always had dogs in my life from when I was little all the way up to now with Jess. And this is called the Village Dog Show. Now, if I go like that, it'll brighten up in a minute, don't worry. As you can see, it's a very, very, very detailed jigsaw of a dog show in a village. And there's lots of dogs on there. I think I counted over 50. And again, it's kind of to the planet jigsaw because it's made of no plastic shrink wrap. There's no shrink wrap on it whatsoever, which I love. Smaller box, as you can see. They're smaller than the average 1,000-piece jigsaws. They're usually big, long things. And also, yeah, the passion for jigsaws, obviously for the recycled and all that sort of stuff. So there you go. There's the jigsaw. Now, last month's jigsaw came with a pack of limited edition playing cards, and these playing cards were special because they were all from Gibson's 100 years of doing the puzzles. Now, this month they've sent me some, and I think I might start collecting them actually, because they don't seem to be a bad thing to collect. And they're called Waterloo 200. I don't know whether you can see that properly. If I do that, you might be able to see. Waterloo 200. And they're actually a special set of cards, right? And it says on the side, hang on, let me just get this right. 54 playing cards published with Waterloo 200 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo, a defining moment in European history. The armies of both sides and their leaders and soldiers are featured on every card in rare prints, portraits and paintings of the ferocity of war. So it's a special limited edition pack of 54 playing cards. And I'm looking forward to opening them and having a look at them actually. So again, this is a puzzle subscription service. I pay, I think it's $13.99 or $14.99 or something like that, and you get a 1,000-piece jigsaw. But you don't just get a jigsaw. Every month now there's been something special about it. I've either had signed, I've had a limited edition book, I've had 2 sets of cards, and the jigsaw puzzles are really, really good. They're really entertaining. There's a lot of information on them as well. You know, you look at them, there's something that makes you, when you're doing the jigsaw, some jigsaws I look at and I think, why would you even bother doing that? You know, like 1,000 pieces of grass or something. I don't understand. But when I'm doing a jigsaw, I like to see the pictures slowly develop, a bit like photography really. You know, when you first look at a picture, like when you take it with an Instamatic, you start moving it like that in the air and the picture will slowly appear. Well, it's a bit like that when I do a jigsaw. I like seeing the picture evolve until I've finished the entire 1,000 pieces, or 1,500 or 2,000, whichever. But that is the Jigsaw subscription service for September 2022 from Gibsons. And you've got the 1,000-piece jigsaw called the Village Dog Show, and you've also got a pack of playing cards there with Napoleon and all about the Napoleonic Wars. Right, what have we been up to since I last spoke to you? It's been busy, actually. It's been really, really busy. Football season started again, and my team aren't playing brilliant, Liverpool aren't, but then again, I expected that because we've had a couple of belting seasons where we've literally been fantastic playing, and it's got to drop off at some point, you know. Man United have started coming back now. They're playing some really good football. They bought some good players, and they started playing some interesting football. Man City are probably going to walk away with the title again. But I have been watching a lot of football from Italian and also French, and occasionally some, when I can get hold of it, Portuguese. Because I love football. I absolutely love football. As I've told you before, I used to be a player. Not a player as in, you know, a professional, right? Like I just used to knock about and play a lot of football. But I've been a goalkeeper, I've been a defender, I've been a winger, I've been a striker, I've been everything. I've also been a manager as well. Which was interesting. I managed a local football team going back, God, 25 years ago now. I was about 24 when I started managing. And the reason I gave up football was because I got a really bad injury. I dislocated my knee, tore my ligaments and shattered my kneecap on my right side, and it literally disfigured me. I just couldn't, every time the ball came to me, I had no power of kicking it or nothing like that. It was all gone out my foot. And because of my CMT, I've now got a thing called drop foot, which means when you lift your foot like that, mine just falls down like that. There's no give in it whatsoever. You'll just do like that and it will just drop back down. I can't move it, it just literally drops. So yeah, but that's what I've been up to. I've been watching a lot of football. Now we've also been trying to finish off The Walking Dead, and we're at the stage now, we're on near the end of series 10, where we're getting a bit bored with it, to be honest, because one thing I will say, if you're ever going to watch it and you haven't watched it yet, this is not a spoiler, be prepared for an episode to show something, then there be 4 episodes not about that, then it will go back to that. Then that episode will go back to the other one, and so on and so forth. It all links, don't get me wrong, it's all the same groups of people, but it's very, very long-winded, and you can tell there's some filler episodes in there which are just literally pointless. Now we've only got a season left, and we're going to see it through to the end. It's gory as hell, one of the goriest TV shows I think I've ever seen. It really is. In places they've gone really overboard with the gore and because obviously the zombies at the end of the day, they're not going to, you know, put a napkin on before they eat somebody, are they? So it's realistic. And I hate to think that if something like that happened, I think I'd be the first on the menu, because I wouldn't be able to run. I wouldn't be able to run away from them. They'd probably be faster than me. And speaking of that, if you ever want to see a zombie film that'll terrify the life of you, watch World War Z. Because that's got zombies in it, but imagine zombies that can move super fast, so you can't outrun them. That's a scary one, World War Z, trust me. Yeah, so other than that, we've been sorting stuff out with the wedding. We've been sorting the house out as well, because obviously we're coming up to that time now where September's coming, and we're going to be spending a lot of time in the house, because we won't be able to sit out on the decking soon because it'll be too cold, too wet, too windy. So we do a lot in the house. Now obviously I do my jigsaws in the winter, I do tons of them, but we'll also be watching a lot of TV. Deb will be doing a lot of crafting, I'll be doing a lot of gaming, because I do a lot of gaming on my PC. Now very recently, I've just acquired a brand new phone, and the reason being mine ran out of contract. Now I like contract phones, and I usually have Sony Xperia. I had an Xperia XA10 II, that was my last phone, excuse me, I got a tickle. XA10 II, and that came to the end of the contract. So I went on to Virgin and I had a talk with them for a little bit, and I've managed to get a Samsung Galaxy A13. Now I'm going to do a full review on it on one of my later vlogs. I'm going to do a full review just for that particular phone, and so far it's a belter. It's really good phone, and I've got a fantastic case to go with it, which I bought off Amazon. Again, I'll tell you all about this later, but the beauty of it is, because I had this phone, I also got a brand new Xbox S, Series S, Xbox Series S, not the digital one, the Series S. And with me being an Xboxer, that's fantastic, you know, because I've just literally got an Xbox console without actually buying an Xbox console. I know it's included in the price, if you know what I mean, but I haven't had to fork it all out in one go, and it still works out cheaper than buying one from the catalogue. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't installed it, I haven't set it up yet. I haven't set it up at all. But the reason I got into all this was because I found out that we were paying on Virgin Media £104 a month for our contract, which was broadband, the phone, the TV. That was it, £104. Anyway, we thought, hang on, we've been with them for 13 years. They've got to be able to do us a better deal. Anyway, I got a talking to this lady called Christina, and she was absolutely brilliant. And she sorted us out a new package, a lot cheaper, faster broadband and everything. So we're looking forward to that. I think that kicks in on the 18th of September, I think. So that's something to look forward to. And it includes Sky Sports and Sky Cinema. So Deb's never going to see me in the winter. I'm just going to be watching football, because what I can't get on BT, I can get on Sky. So now, one thing I have done is I bought something. Now, I'll tell you the story about this actually in a minute. But coming up first, my book reviews. Hi folks, welcome to Sonofdel's book reviews. I've got two books to review for you today. The first one is Mark Billingham, Lifeless. The second one is a Dean Koontz book called Dark Rivers of the Heart. Now, the first book I bought, which I'll show you, is Mark Billingham's Lifeless. Now, as you can see, right, it's quite a thick book. Now, I got this book by accident, to be honest with you. On the works, they do a thing called 3 for 6. On paperback fiction, and my wife had picked two and we couldn't find a third, so I thought, well, I'll give this guy, I've read the synopsis on the back of it and it sounded pretty cool, so I thought I'll give this a bash. And I've never had a Mark Billingham book before, so I thought, I know he's a good author, so I'll try him. Anyway, I read the book and I'm very, very pleased with it. I'd give it a good 4 out of 5. It's a dark, gritty thriller. It's what's called a Tom Thorne novel. Now, I didn't know there was any others of these, so I'm going to look out for the rest of them as well. But basically what it is it's set in London, and somebody is going round killing people who are on the streets and putting £20 notes on them, pinning the £20 note to the body. Now, I'm not giving anything away here because this is the synopsis on the back of the book. In fact, I'll read the synopsis and then you've got an idea. It says, 3 men sleeping rough on London's mean streets have been found brutally murdered. Each victim was kicked to death and found with a £20 note pinned to his chest. But were they killed at random or were they targeted for a reason? Now, this detective, well, this policeman, this Tom Thorne, he goes undercover on the streets to try and find out what's going on, and he uncovers a lot more than he thought he would. Now, it's a long book, but it's worth reading. It's a really, really good, dark, gritty thriller, and I think what makes it better for me is because it's set in England, because I can always relate to them more if I can picture the streets, what they're on about. Because when they set in places like New York or something like that, I've never been to America, so I can't really picture the places or how people are or nothing. But when it says London and you hear about these people on the streets, which obviously it involves quite a lot. Now, it also deals with a lot of bad subjects on there, like drug abuse. It deals with a lot of drug abuse, because which is obvious, because a lot of people, not everybody, so before somebody tells me off, a lot of people on the streets are actual drug users. You know, that's just one of them things. You can't do anything about it. They split into 3 categories really, which are drug users, drinks, as in people who rely on the drink, and gamblers. You know, and I think them 3 together make up the majority of the people on the streets. Now, you might read this and think, yeah, but this is London. To be honest, you go to any major city like Liverpool, Newcastle, Bristol, because I've had experience in Bristol, so I know what I'm talking about. There are lots of people on the streets living in cardboard boxes, even in this day and age. And it's a sad, sad thing to see, where you've got people who are willing to spend thousands of pounds on one item, and yet these people would literally, if you gave them a 50 pence or a pound, they would actually thank you, you know, because you are keeping them with a hot drink or whatever. But yeah, like I said, this Mark Billingham book, I would give it 4 out of 5 because it's a very, very good thriller. There's lots of twists in it, lots of little things happening here and there, and it's got a really good plot, and it had me going quite the way through it. I didn't figure out what was going on until quite near the end, and it's really good. So I would give it 4 out of 5, and it's Mark Billingham's Lifeless. Go out and buy it. Give yourself a good read if you like a nice dark thriller. Now, the second book I'm going to rate, when I can get my voice back, is Dark Rivers of the Heart by Dean Koontz. Now, I can't show you the book because I've read it on Kindle. I've got it on Kindle, so I can't show you the book cover. Now, what this is it starts off as a normal run-of-the-mill thriller. A man who's basically goes to a bar, chats up this woman, gets on great with her. The next night he goes back for some reason. He doesn't know why, but for some reason he's got this inkling to protect this woman. He doesn't know why. He thinks there's something weird. Anyway, he follows her to a house, which is a bit stalkerish. He knows that. He knows he's a bit stalkerish. But while he's in the house and she's not there, he finds out she's literally moved out. There's a raid on the house, literally, by all these, like, drug enforcement agencies, cops, you know, everything. But they're not ones that are going to take you prisoner. They are literally shoot to kill. They want this woman dead. And he then goes on the run because they think he's something to do with this woman. Now, anyway, the story involves him, whose name Spencer, the woman whose name Ellie, and a cracking dog called Rowdy, I think he's called. Is he called Rowdy? I think he's called Rowdy anyway. But he basically is a thriller where these people are on the road trying to escape this secret government agency that basically wants to wipe them out. Now, there's a real head of this agency, not head of such, but one who's in charge of things called Roy Myro. And he is literally your worst nightmare. Because he's not a sadistic killer in the sense of the word, but he literally thinks that if he finds somebody who's got something wrong with them, like a disability, or somebody who's poor and can't find the next bit of money to go, he will kill them and think he's doing them a favour by giving them that one moment of pleasure where they've escaped from their lives and they are free forever. He's a bit like that. He's a very strange character. But there are a lot of characters in it that you meet on the way, a lot of strange folks and weird little bits. And it's quite scary to think that this could happen. Because this is an agency, literally, that could make you disappear without knowing that you've ever been on the planet. They are that high in intelligence. They've got computer systems on the go. They've got judges in the pay packet. They've got senators. They've got presidents. They've got everybody in their payroll, basically. And what it is it's basically an agency that, because this woman knows too much information, they want to kill her. But she's also quite intelligent as well. She's very good with computers, very good with technology. So literally, it's a kind of cat and mouse thing. And the ending is so realistic. It's so realistic that it's worth the read. Now, if the ending had been a bit mushy or it had gone a bit stupid and it had gone a weird way, then I wouldn't be recommending it as much as I have. But this particular Dean Koontz book, I would definitely give another 4 out of 5. And it's called Dark Rivers of the Heart. Now, the reason I've been able to rate 2 books so soon is because the one on my Kindle, I actually was sitting outside and I needed my Kindle charging. So I put my Kindle on charge, but it wouldn't charge for some reason. So I had to pick up a normal paperback book, which I don't usually read because of these things gripping it. They won't grip it properly. But I managed to get through 2 books in the space of about 3 weeks. And the first one, like I say, Mark Billingham, Lifeless, 4 out of 5. The second one, Dean Koontz, Dark Rivers of the Heart, 4 out of 5. And those are my book reviews. Now, since I did those book reviews, I've actually managed to get 10 Mark Billingham books. Just watch this and it shows you a quick video of, the 10 books. Now, as you can see, I've got 10, but I've also managed to get the last one as well. So I've got book 18, I think it is. Now, all I'm waiting for is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17 to come down in price, because I will not pay more than £5 for a book. I won't do it. I won't spend money over £5 on a book. I'll go up to a fiver, but usually they're about £4.50. But this Mark Billingham, this Tom Thorne, this detective, it's really, really good. Now, I made the mistake of reading book 5 first because I didn't know there was any more in the series. And I read a book called Lifeless, and that was fantastic, as you've just seen from the review. It was a really, really good book. It was dark. It was set in England, which makes it fantastic because I can relate to the areas and stuff like that. Now, what I wanted to tell you was, I'm a fantastic fan of Erasure. I've been following them since they first started back in the 80s, and I've got nearly every CD they've ever done. And they had a new one come out called The Neon, which was, oh God, when was that? The Neon was a few months ago, quite a few months ago. Now what they've done is they bought out another one called Dayglow, and what it basically is, it's based on a true story. It's got songs on it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 songs on it, right? And apparently it tells a story all the way through. Now when I picked it up, I also got this, which is the same album, but it's a limited edition green fluorescent vinyl. Now that's the good side. Listen to this. I ordered it off a place called Lexa Music, and Lexa Music sent it me, and I ordered it on the 16th or 17th of August. Anyway, by the 25th, I hadn't received it, even though they said they'd send it out next day delivery or a couple of days sort of thing. So I got in touch with them and they said, it's been delivered. I was like, what do you mean it's been delivered? They sent me a copy of a photo of our blue bin outside, our blue recycle bin, somebody lifting the lid up and putting the parcel in. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, the blue bins were emptied 2 days ago. When was this delivered? 5 days ago. So of course I'm panicking. I'm thinking, it's gone with the plastics. It's gone with the plastics and the glass bottles. It's gone. I can't do anything about it. So anyway, we're really, really friendly with our local policewoman, our local postwoman called Julie Morrissey Lane. She's fantastic, absolutely brilliant. You couldn't wish for a better person to deliver your mail, trust me. Anyway, I'm friendly with her, and I asked her if she could just look into this parcel for me. Anyway, she got in touch with the depot, and the depot said it was there, ready for redelivery. And I showed her this picture. I said, but there's a picture there of a guy putting it in the bin, and that's the photo he's uploaded. She said, well, first of all, he shouldn't leave anything in the blue bins because we've been told not to leave anything in the blue bins, so he wouldn't have done that. But he obviously was going to, took the photo, decided to take it back to the depot instead, but never changed the photo. So all the time I was panicking, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose my, my vinyl. I thought, it's a limited edition as well, green fluorescent. It's not going to be available forever. But luckily, it was delivered about 4 days later. But all that could have been avoided if he hadn't to put that photo on. If he hadn't put that photo on, I'd have just gone, fair enough, I need to arrange for a redelivery, I can do that. But he didn't. He didn't do that, which was very, very annoying. Now, last thing I want to talk about today, on the last word coming up, is people. Now, when I say people, I mean people in general. I mean, I try and look at the world with an optimistic eye. I try and look at the good side if I can. But I am finding that 90% of stuff now that I see, whether it be on the news, on the internet, talking to people, is bad news. It's bad news. Now, don't get me wrong, when I was growing up, of course there was bad news. We used to get the newspapers which told you the news from the day before. There was no internet. Because obviously I'm talking like 70s and 80s. There was no internet. You know, you didn't get like personal internet like you get now, where you can get news as it happens. You didn't get that then. So I grew up literally reading yesterday's news in the Sun, because my mum had the Sun back then. Oh, I can't stand that paper. If you're a Liverpool fan, you'll know exactly what I mean. But yeah, so she had the Sun, so I used to read that. Now, I've always been an avid reader, and I used to read the news stories. You know, I used to read about politics and business and economy and all sorts. When I'm talking when I'm like 9, 10 years old, I would still be reading this stuff. Anyway, I don't remember there being too many nightmare scenario stories. Yes, if there was a big headline like a bombing or a shooting or something, then that would be there. But a lot of the stuff in the paper would be quite uplifting, quite jovial, some of it quite silly or stupid, and you'd have a laugh at it as well. You know, you'd think, can't believe somebody's done that, or oh my God, why did they get away with that? You know, that sort of thing. But the problem you've got now is there's too much bad going on in the world, and the media now focus too much on the bad of the world. If they can get one bad news story and 20 good news stories, you can guarantee that they will focus on the bad one. because that sells papers, you see. That sells papers. Good news stories are just the kind of thing that you talk about to your friend, you know what I mean? They're not interested in nice news stories. And then when they do try and focus on something that's good, well, they class as good, it's usually something like somebody spent 250 grand on a new car or something like that. Now, the average person, I don't know if I'm classed as the average person, will never see £250,000. They'll never be able to look at a bank account and see 250 grand in there. You know, some people will, don't get me wrong. Some people have probably got millions in the bank that you know, all over the world. I'm not bothered about that. What I'm saying is, when you've got a newspaper like the Sun, the Mirror, stuff like that, the majority, I'm not saying all, but the majority of people that read that sort of paper will not be spending 250 grand on a car. You know, some won't even spend 250 grand on a house in their lifetime. So people are just too easily, I don't know, distracted from life. And obviously what I think happens as well is somewhere along the line somebody says, hang on a minute, our country's going really, really bad at the moment. To take people's mind off the fact that the country's in a bad way, let's give them something else to worry about. Let's give them a pandemic. Let's give them an epidemic. Let's give them killer bees or killer wasps are coming, or bloody black widow spiders are, you know, been seen all over Britain, all this sort of thing. And a lot of the time I think they do it so that it tries to distract people from everyday life. Now, if you're like me, everyday life at the moment's kicking you in the arse because everything you spend money on is going up in price. And I don't just mean like 5p or 5p there. That's inflation, that's standard. But I'm talking about going shopping for spend £30 on groceries, and then the following week the same groceries costing you £40. You know, it's getting ridiculous now. And my sister, she's absolutely horrified because every time she goes in Aldi or B&M, there's a price increase on something that she buys. And she goes in sometimes once, twice a week. And there's still price increases nearly every week she goes in. And I think it's getting ridiculous. Now, we've just had a new elected Prime Minister, Liz Truss. Now, I'm not saying she'll do a fantastic job. I'm not saying she'll do a crap job. I'm saying give her a chance. Give her a chance and let's see what she can do. Now, with her being Conservative, I don't hold out much hope anyway, because I'm a Labour. I've been Labour all my life. I've never been afraid to admit it. Labour is for the working people, simple that. Working class people, sorry. And I am classed as working class, I suppose. Even though I haven't done any work since I was 23, 24, but that's out of my hands, I'm afraid. And this is why I do this, basically. But yeah, people are so negative now. You know, you can be sitting outside and you'll be talking to somebody and they'll automatically go on to something negative. Now, the difference being, you see, with me, Deb, and Tony and Shell next door, the ones who are getting married next week, who I'm best man, blah, 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 all that, when we sit out back, there is such a relief for all four of us, because we know we're going to sit there, we're going to have a talk, we're going to have a laugh, we're going to make each other embarrassed and all sorts of stuff. And we do that. We have a complete exit from the news. We don't go outside and like hold the phone up and go, oh, this happened, this dead. We don't do that. We don't do that. Don't get me wrong, if there's some news story that I think they need to hear, then I will tell them. You know, if there's something that you think, what? I've got to tell them that. If they don't know that, they need to know it. You know, say there's something about bills going up or something about a payment or something like that, and I think they need to know it, then I will tell them. But most of the time I'm out there, I'm just joking around, or I'm reading, or me and Deb are talking, and you know, it's a really, really relaxed atmosphere out on the decking. And that's why we hate autumn and winter so much, because we know come autumn and winter, when we want to sit out there, it's going to be too cold, it's going to be too wet. So I can understand these people who've got like gazebos and conservatories and stuff, because then you can still sit out but not be out, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that is my vlog after a month. Now obviously when I next do a vlog, it won't be a month's time, it'll only be about probably about a week. And stay tuned, because I will be doing that review of the Samsung Galaxy A13 phone. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Bye for now.